Restickering a regular cube to make it look like a 6x6 puzzle is a pretty common mod. I even have a few variants of this. But in this video, we're going to talk about a sticker mod that uses the 6x6 grid to feature a pattern of tessellating spirals. Welcome to another episode of Custom Cuber. For this cube is based on two sets of three spiral patterns that tessellate with one another. One set has the colors blue, white, and red, while the opposite faces have green, yellow, and orange. Each color represents a spiral that goes on two faces of the cube as it tessellates with two other colors. In this case, red goes on these two sides, tessellating with white here and with blue on the other. Each set of three only interacts with the other colors on its own set and never touches the colors on the opposite faces. The individual spiral patterns also have a standard design in which each spiral starts going clockwise, stops at a corner, then moves on to the next side in a counterclockwise spiral. This system stays true even if we start from the other side. So how can we solve a cube with this pattern? Well, the centers have some rounded parts that can tell you which small square represents the end of a spiral. In this case, it's this one. This gives clues about how the edges around the centerpiece should be placed. The other pieces also have rounded corners that show where the spiral turns. For example, these two edges look alike, but we know that this is the edge that should connect with the center because of this small rounded square that shows a turning point. The corners of the first layer and the rest of the pieces are easy to place once the centerpiece of the first layer, as well as the centers of the sides, are oriented correctly. There are no identical pieces that may be interchanged with each other accidentally, so parities, commonly used to refer to unsolvable permutations in a cube, are not possible. You might have noticed as I solved this puzzle that the cube can be hard to turn and has a few uneven plastic edges. That's because I used a budget cube as the base for this project, mainly because I wanted to experiment with the design and how that affects the solve, and I wasn't focused on building a smooth speed cube. For the custom design, I used matte sticker paper with an inkjet printer, and I cut the individual pieces by hand. The cutting part wasn't too tedious because I didn't have to cut each small square. They are laid out in sets of 4, divided by black gaps. I measured the gaps between the actual 3x3 cubies and used that to measure the gaps between the small squares. This is why the gaps are almost even, making it look like a 6x6x6 cube. Now it's time to scramble this. When scrambled, the spiral pattern isn't that obvious as this just looks like an unscrambled 6x6x6. Now, here's a question for you. If you weren't aware of how the cube looks like when it's solved, would you be able to figure out the pattern in this mess of colors? Thanks for checking out the 6x6x6 spiral patterned cube. There's a lot of other patterns that can be integrated into this simple 6x6 grid, and I wonder how different the solves can be depending on what designs are used. What pattern would you like to see on this pseudo 6x6x6 cube? I hope to hear your thoughts in the comments below and enjoy the rest of the solve up to the end of the video. See you all next time!